So here we are in the Plaza Santo Domingo in Murcia, Spain. You can see there is a lot of places around here. The Academy Epo is here as we walk around the streets. Okay, people from different countries are here. And, you know, sometimes people say Jewish people in Europe shouldn't show their faces now because of what's going on in Israel. But in general, you know, you go to the pool, take off your Jewish star. You know, don't light your menorah, don't put it in your public window so everyone sees it. Do it in an interior, like in your bathroom or something. This is the University of Murcia. And I've spoken to Jewish people in various countries in Europe. You might not know this, but now antisemitism is worse in the United States today than it is in Europe today. What is happening now in the USA looks like a copy of what happened in Germany 13 years before Hitler took over. So you could imagine in the year 2037, they'll be putting the Jews in the US of A in concentration camps again. But maybe they won't because Israel exists, you know. I mean, that's a big difference in history, you know. And anyway, you can see here, Nelva Casillas, that is a bar here. It used to be called Ipanema, now it's Cooking Sam. Let me get back on the street. I speak English, okay, because I come from the west coast of the United States, from Oregon. And my name's Lonnie Helfand. Okay, I've been here in Murcia about 3 years. And I'm taking a walk now over to a friend's house because we're going to play cards. Here's some other places that are clearly Murcian places. Okay? This is the University of Murcia over here. But the question is to Jews who live in Europe, are you afraid? I mean, people at work know you're a Jew and your friends know you're a Jew. But when you walk in the street, you know, and you hear a comment against Israel, you may be afraid to speak up. Because, you know, you're maybe afraid of retribution. Someone will put a knife in your back. Something like that. And on the other side of the coin, you know, if you go to a spa or a place like that, would you take off your star so that, you know, people don't know that you're Jewish? On your Facebook, do you write, I stand with Israel, or are you a little bit afraid to do it nowadays? Anyway, I would just like to hear from Jewish people around Europe. I know in the United States, Jews are very much afraid because most of my cousins who live in the States live in Jewish ghettos. They're afraid to leave the ghetto. A Jewish ghetto could be New York City, could be Brooklyn, could be Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Miami Beach. But you wouldn't find them moving, let's say, to Utah or Montana, unless there was a Jewish community there that they could become part of. Okay? And this is the University of Murcia. But anyway, here in Murcia, we have, I think, less than 100 Jews. I remember 10 years ago, there were like only 5 Jewish people living here. You know, a couple of Israelis who had businesses and weren't afraid of getting a knife in their back because they were IDF trained. And then there were these other 3 who married in to Murcia, girls and boys. Now there's close to 100 of them here. They tell me that the reason why is because, you know, the Northern Europeans are retiring to the south of Europe, like New York Jews go to Miami. But, you know, some of them go to Israel, you know, to get away from the cold. But some of them just want to stay in the European community, so they choose Murcia, Seville, places in Italy like Pecciato, and other places on the Mediterranean coast. France, no, because even the Mediterranean coast of France is way up, and it's cold there, like 4 months a year in the winter. It's almost like New York. But Murcia's winter is like Miami. And because we're in an orchard, and because we have flights right to Norway and Finland and Sweden and Denmark, direct flights, I think we're becoming like the number 1. So among all those people moving to beautiful Murcia, let's face it, there are Jews in the crowd. And so the community's growing. I've gotten calls, maybe 100 calls in just a month saying, you know, we're Jews, we want to move from Sweden, And I always say to them, why don't you go to Israel? I mean, isn't that what we should be talking about? I'm not interested in building up the Jewish community here. I'm interested in helping Israel over there so that the diaspora can exist, because without Israel, there is no diaspora. I mean, we're all gone, you know? That's why I mentioned earlier, in 13, 14 years, you might have another Holocaust in the United States, but this time, you'll have the Mossad and the IDF working, you know? And, but anyway, sometimes they say, no, we don't want to leave the European community. We want to stay in. We got health care. We got jobs, you know, things like that. And we understand the language, the culture. Well, anyway, I always say a second time, go to Israel. You know, that's the name of the game. But if you come here, you know, you got to join us in supporting Israel. We're not here to build up a Jewish community. This is not Israel too, you know. But anyway, they come. And they want to know, is there kosher food here? You know, the answer could be yes, the answer could be no, depending on who you talk to, okay? Do you celebrate Hanukkah? Yeah, we do. We light the menorah in someone's house. We don't do it in public. Because it's, you know, it's even before October 7th, it was a little bit scary to do something like that. What about matzah? Well, we make it by hand. Because if we buy it, we have to import it. And it costs an arm and a leg, and we'd rather send the money to Israel. So we just make it by hand. Now, let's face it, it couldn't taste any worse. It's just flour, water, and virgin extra olive oil, which we make right here. You put it in a pizza oven, which is more or less the size of a pizza. And in 4 minutes, you get a pizza. But that's really just 100% matzah. In under 18 minutes. It's not kosher. And if you're religious, you want to import your matzah. But if you're not religious, but you want the symbolism of it, you go ahead and do it. Now, among these Jews moving here, you know, we've had, retired Jewish couples coming in. And following them come some younger Jews from Sweden and Denmark and Germany who are dentists, lawyers, school teachers. They come down to service the older Jews who come down. And when they come down, the younger ones bring their kids. So you end up getting a school for Jewish kids here in the area of Benidorm, Alicante, Murcia, where they speak Hebrew. What we do here in Europe, I think, is something really interesting. We don't like birthright. I got to say, birthright to us is a bunch of crap. I mean, 2 weeks in Israel with the blinders on, you only see what they want you to see. We do the idfund, which is where we talk to our children about going to do the military in Israel and then come back here and become doctors, lawyers, and CPAs, make your Jewish mothers happy. Or stay in Israel and live there, preferably. Now, that's a big disruption in a life, isn't it? It's like years, because birthright is made so that it's transparent, seamless. It doesn't interfere with your life. But some people believe that it's time to redefine what the Jewish life is. That it's not just going to Harvard or Yale or Oxford or Carlos Tercero. It might include that every Jewish boy and girl do 2 or 3 years in the army. And if you go back home, you're harder. So, you know, because the day has come, let's face it, where Israel is no longer talking to its anti-Semitic enemies. It's just killing them off. And that day had to come, you know? And maybe in the diaspora, there's no more time for meetings to demonstrate and protest and march in the streets. Maybe it's time to just deal with the anti-Semitic politicians and policies in a more physical way. And having Jews who live in New York, or Florida or California or Murcia or Madrid who've been in the IDF will, you know, allow them to get physical if they have to get physical, to walk with less fear, to take the subway with less fear. You know, I mean, it could be a whole new thing, like a rite of passage for a Jew is not just the bar mitzvah for the boy and the bat mitzvah for the girl and the circumcision, but it might be serving in the IDF and maybe living in Israel. But even if you don't, having served in the IDF could be just as important as having a bar mitzvah. Even if you're secular, you had a bar mitzvah, you might want to do IDF and then go back home to Gainesville, Florida and study medicine. You know, then when there's anti-Semitism, instead of marching in the streets and protesting, which never worked, let's face it, you know. I got to tell you, in the last 20 years here, I have attended dozens of demonstrations in Madrid and Barcelona in favor of Israel and to talk against anti-Semitism. And they serve nothing because we had another Holocaust, October 7th. And we see the kidnaps and the hostages and the anti-Semitism that's rising. So what the fuck did we accomplish? Well, we sent a lot of money to Israel. Maybe if we hadn't kvetched in the streets, we would have had more anti-Semitism. But could you have more than an October 7th? What could be more? That's I think the limit there. So we might have gotten to a point now where, no more demonstrations, no more we're having a meeting on the corner of 5th and Lexington, and we're going to hold up signs and we're going to yell. We did that shit and it didn't work. So if you say we're not going to do that anymore, the question is then what the fuck do we do? Because we've been trained like monkeys to do that kind of stuff. We don't know what else to do. And if that doesn't work, what do? We got to do something. Maybe not. Maybe what you got to do is send your kids to the IDF, and then let them decide if they want to live there or if they want to come back here, okay? Start training them for them, like Hebrew school at the age of 7, not just for a bar mitzvah, but with physical training, summers in Israel. And when they finish high school, they go to IDF, or maybe when they finish college in Iowa, they go to IDF and maybe stay in Israel or go back. That might become a normal part of, kind of like a Jewish baptism, your IDF years. I know that's very popular at, what the hell is the place called? The university, I think it's called Baltimore. Yeah, I think over there the Jewish students at the college all discuss IDF after college, before med school, before law school. And the law school and the med school actually give you points if you do IDF after college before applying to med school and law school. So kids take the LSAT, and if they don't get in, they're told, do your IDF and come back, we'll take you. I think that's a wonderful way to create a whole new definition of Jewish people. But anyway, I'm taking a long walk and giving a long talk here in Morthia. Cloudy day, okay? It's a pretty cloudy day today. And this is December of 2023. New Year's Eve is coming up pretty soon. I hope 24 will be better, a little bit better than this one is. Taking a walk here. Anyway, I'll finish off by saying, if you're Jewish and you're thinking about moving to Morthia, Spain, because we have good weather and culture, think please about moving to Israel, okay? Please. That's the way it should be. But if you're just not cut out for that, you tried it didn't work or whatever, okay, contact us in Morthia. I'm not the boss of anything. We don't have a boss. Just look on Facebook for Judaism or Judaismo or Judaismo or Judaica, Morthia, M-U-R-C-I-A, and you'll find somebody there who will receive you at the airport here in Morthia, okay? And you'll join with us. And, one of the big things we do in this group is, fighting anti-Semitism. But the way we fight anti-Semitism, I have to come to believe, has been useless because we had October 7th. So some of us in the group no longer go to those meetings, but we send even more money to Israel. Think about that. I used to send $1,000 a year to Israel and go to the meetings and buy the lottery tickets and, all that stuff. And we'd go to talks where Israeli embassy people would talk to us about anti-Semitism or other things. Now I just don't go to those meetings anymore, but I give $3,000 a year to Israel because I realize time for talk is over. Bibi, Netanyahu said no more talk. We're going to find these people who are screwing with us and just kill them. No more discussions, no more debates, no more, shaking hands at the end and saying, well, let's agree not to agree as gentlemen. No more gentlemen. And, maybe that's what it's all about here. Anyway, I've got a son who's in Israel. He's in his 40s already. And my daughter, well, she goes back and forth between Israel and the west coast of the United States. And, she's in real estate. Israelis are very aggressive in sales, so she's doing really well. At her age, like $7 million in her own real estate. Pretty good. Anyway, here I am in Morthia, going for pizza. on a pretty crappy day. And again, if you're a Jewish person and you live in Europe, Madrid, Barcelona, Alicante, Benidorm, Murcia, Lorca, Totana, Mula, Zaragoza, are you afraid to let people know you're a Jew? Do you feel like a fear, like a little voice in your head that says, whoa, put that star under your t-shirt, take off that thing, hide the menorah? Do you feel that? Because those are the things that, happened before the Holocaust. Before the Holocaust in Germany, Jews walked around in $1,000 gold shoes, living well. They denied anti-Semitism because they said, look at my shoes. I'm living well. $1,000 shoes. But, they thought nothing when there was a joke on a TV show and a comic, depicted a Jew with the big nose with pockets full of money. Nothing when there was a cartoon and the Jew was the money grubber. Nothing when a politician made a comment. They thought nothing of it because they were living well. And then it went a step further. They thought nothing of it when a Jewish boy was thrown off a swimming team in a school, when religion was suddenly taught in class, when a Jew didn't get a promotion in a company, and even when a Jew was, interrogated by the tax collector and abused. They thought nothing of it because they were in their $1,000 shoes. And, one day, under their feet, it broke through. Maybe someone showed up at their company, or a government worker said something to them that had to be done differently. And it got worse. And pretty soon, they were told, relocation, all Jews have to live in this neighborhood. And their businesses lost contracts. And the rich ones, the ones who were in the know, they got out. They sold what they could sell to the non-Jewish partners and took the money and ran to the States or to Israel. Okay? Some of them came to Spain. The Koplowitz sisters came from Germany with so much money, they opened up Spain's largest department store chain, like the Macy's of Spain, called El Corte Inglés. And a guy named Schwartz, who was a reporter in Germany, came to Spain, and his son became Fernando Schwartz, who does his, like the Walter Cronkite of Spain. And another guy came here and opened up Zara, which you Americans use, Zara, with the Zara, the clothing store. That's a Spanish company owned by Jews. We have other companies here in Spain that are owned by Jews also, like Leche Pascual Milk, Fini Candies, Vidal Candies, Hoover. The electric company, the national company, has Jewish stockholders. A lot of Jewish money got the hell out while the going was good. Okay? And what's happening now, I think, in the world is that Jews have to understand there is anti-Semitism, and it is growing, although they are wearing $1,000 shoes. Any Jew who says there is no anti-Semitism because they're living well, punch him in the nose. Really, because that's bullshit. And, what can you do to keep anti-Semitism down? Well, no more talks. No more lighting the candle and taking a photo opportunity and kissing the Jewish flag. You got to do what maybe Netanyahu's doing. He said, no more talk. You want to keep anti-Semitism down? Look what he did in his neighborhood. Get rid of those people. I mean, just don't wait for them to get rid of you. And I don't imagine Jews in Los Angeles are going to take to the streets and start killing people, but sending your kids to the IDF might be as part of being Jewish nowadays as the bar mitzvah, as the matzah, as the menorah. And it should be. Anyway, I'll leave you here. I got to go now and get lunch on this cloudy day here at the end of the year here in Murcia, Spain.